Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing the Monster Jam World Finals 22 in Nashville, Tennessee. That is coming up this weekend. So I'm going to be analyzing all the stuff that's going to be going on, from new paint schemes, to the lineup, the schedule, encores, the pit party. We're going to be analyzing all of that here today. So first up, let's get started with the main field lineup. First up in the main field, we've got Brandon Vincent in Gravedigger. And Brandon Vincent is the reigning World Finals Racing Champion, and he would get the first automatic invite to the World Finals by winning Arena Series Central back in mid-April. He'd win his Arena Series Central and get himself a bid into the World Finals. It's a really nice and deserved spot for Brandon Vincent, and we cannot wait to see him come out here and try to defend his World Racing Championship. Although this time, we're going to be on a different track this time, which we'll be talking about later. It will be a different track, and we cannot wait to see what Brandon will have for us. We do know Brandon's also going to look for some redemption in freestyle because he broke on his first hit last time. So he'd really like to finish higher in freestyle. He just wants a good freestyle performance because he's struggled in the past two World Finals in freestyle. So he wants a good World Finals freestyle appearance. And we'll be able to see if he'll be able to try to defend this racing championship, as it's going to be a different track, not the over-under. And we are praying it is not going to rain. Next up, we've got Weston Anderson in Gravedigger. Now, Weston Anderson won his Arena Series East Tour this year, and he was super duper dominant on that tour, winning many overall event championship wins, and just doing crazy stuff that we could have never imagined. And he also probably got some of the biggest air in an arena probably ever back in Baltimore, where he'd win the tour with a nice freestyle where he just absolutely send it across the Royal Farms Arena, and probably have a nominee for Crash Madness, because he also had a pretty wicked crash on there as well. So we'll be able to see what Weston will be able to do here at the World Finals. Weston, he may have been able to get a World Finals Championship last year, so he did really good at last year's World Finals. Although he kind of did fall up short because, he was doing really good in racing. Like, he probably would have made it to round 3 if he did not slide into the wall, and he crashed early in freestyle when he was doing amazing. So I cannot wait to see what Weston is going to do. Weston hasn't really done as many stadiums, though, although he did do kind of two really bigger stadium kind of like tracks during the second quarter of 2022, where he competed in Salinas, and he also competed in Glendale Show 2, where he drove Son of a Digger. So we cannot wait to see what Weston will have for us at the World Finals is. I bet he's going to go really good here, and I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in freestyles. He's probably going to rock it out here for you fans. Next up, we've got Tristan England in Earthshaker. Tristan England would win Arena Series West this year, and get his first tour championship for the first time in 4 years. It was really nice to see Tristan and win his tour. It was a bit of a back-and-forth battle between him and Elvis in the beginning of the season, but around February, he took the points lead, and he held the points lead since. So, nice job for Tristan England. He wants to come out here and have a good World Finals. He got 3rd place in racing last year. He was probably one of the best and consistent drivers out there on that racing track, and was looking like he was going to win the whole thing until he over-rotated in the turn, which caused Ryan to win in the semis. And he was on rails last year in racing, so we cannot wait to see how he's going to do this year in racing, although it's going to be a really different track. He's definitely going to want to do that, and he's also going to definitely want some redemption in freestyle, as last year in freestyle, although it was better than his freestyles at World Finals 19 and World Finals 20, he still broke early, and probably finished near the bottom, just barely above the 3 trucks that didn't qualify for a score, which were Gravedigger and Brandon Vincent, Gravedigger, Corey Rummel, Megalodon, and Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken. I cannot wait to see what Tristan England has got up his sleeve. He did say on the Inside Miles episode that he's got something special and cool that he wants to do at the World Finals. So we cannot wait to see what he's going to do. Next up, we've got Adam Anderson in Gravedigger. Now, Adam won Stadium Series Red this year, so we cannot wait to see what Adam is going to do. Adam has had a really crazy season all year long. And after battling with truck problems last year, he is ready to go for this World Finals. I mean, last year he went crazy. He went crazy this year with many good freestyle runs. Some of his good freestyle runs came from Oakland, Anaheim Show 2, Miami Show 1, Tampa Show 2, Minneapolis Show 2, Jacksonville, Orlando, Detroit Show 2, Philadelphia, Atlanta Show 2, which is probably his best run he had of the season, Foxborough. These were just all amazing runs from Adam Anderson and Gravedigger, especially the ones that came out of Atlanta Show 2 and Orlando were just off the charts and amazing. I cannot wait to see what Adam has got his plan in freestyle. Although last year Adam Anderson is very fast and dominant in racing, and this year has been a bit more quiet in the racing competition, so I cannot wait to see what Adam has got for us here. Hopefully he makes some redemption and get some faster passes in racing. Because the last time he did the elevated start in 2019, he would end up finishing on the podium in racing and getting 3rd place. And we just cannot wait to see what he's going to do in freestyle. He's probably going to go insane. This track is very similar to World Finals 20, the All-Star Challenge, and a little bit of World Finals is 9 and 10. And in World Finals 9 and in the All-Star Challenge that he competed in, he did good on a type of track like this, getting 2nd place in the All-Star Challenge in 2019 and winning in World Finals 9. So we'll have to see what Adam is going to do. Is this going to be really cool? Oh, Adam's definitely going to try and burn it down for the fans out here this weekend. Next up, we've got Tyler Menninga and Gravedigger. Tyler Menninga is ready to go out here. He won Stadium Series Blue this season in a close battle with Ryan Anderson at the end. Tyler Menninga, he's had a crazy year this year. He's had a lot of good freestyles from San Diego Show 1 to his crazy freestyle in the mud in San Diego Show 4. There's some other good runs that he's had throughout the season, although I don't really feel as if his freestyle game was as good, because I do feel like his truck did have some issues at times, but he did have a really good freestyle, though, in Denver. And Tyler Menninga this year, he was super dominant in racing. He's won multiple racing competitions on the season, and he dominated. He won every racing competition from San Diego Show 2 all the way through to all the way to Houston Show 1. So he won, many races in a row. He won, 6 racing competitions in a row, which is just absolutely crazy. So we cannot wait to see what Tyler's going to do in racing. And the last time he did elevating starting lines back in 2019, Tyler ended up finishing in the top in qualifying, although he did lose round 3 to Bari Musawar in Zombie Fire. So we'll see here. Tyler Menninga is going to be somebody to watch out for in racing. It can always throw out something cool in freestyle. I hope Tyler Menninga can revert, because I do feel like Tyler Menninga's freestyles in 2022 were better than in the ones he had this year. Like last year, Tyler Menninga had crazy freestyle runs such as from Arnhem, Netherlands, Show 2, Miami, Florida, Show 2, as well as last year's World Finals, and in San Diego Show 2. He threw down some epic freestyle runs. Oh, also in his freestyle in Oakland last year was pretty insane, so we hope he can do good and have kind of revert back to more of his freestyles he's having in 2022. Alright, next up, we've got Cynthia Gauthier and Lucas Stabilizer. Cynthia Gauthier has had a much better season this year than last year. She's starting to get used to her Lucas Stabilizer truck, as she ended up getting quite a few freestyle wins this year, such as in San Diego Show 1, San Diego Show 2, Anaheim Show 5, El Paso, and that is where she mainly got her freestyle wins. She probably has won the most amount of freestyle wins on her tour. She did really good this season. She's doing better and getting more used to this Lucas stabilizer truck. Although most of the freestyle wins, in my opinion, were undeserved. I think the El Paso one was deserved, but I don't think all the other ones were deserved. But the ones that she didn't deserve to win, they were still really good freestyles. Cynthia's had a lot of great freestyles this season, such as in San Diego Show 1, San Diego Show 2, San Diego Show 3, where she got that crazy double or consecutive backflip in the mud, which was really crazy. And she also had good freestyle run in Anaheim Show 5. She had a really good freestyle run. El Paso Show 1, Denver, Kansas City, Glendale. So Cynthia's had a much better year this year in freestyle than she has had last year. She's getting more used to her Lucas stabilizer truck, because she definitely did struggle last year, having a lot of crashes early. But she's luckily getting more and more used to her truck, and we cannot wait to see what she's going to do here this weekend. And she's also had a really crazy move in skills where she almost had a backflip off a log stack back in Anaheim Show 3. So we can't wait to see what Cynthia is going to do for us. Cynthia had a crazy crash last year in freestyle, so we cannot wait to see what she's going to do this year. I think it's going to be a really good year this year for Cynthia Gauthier. Next up, speaking of the females, we're going to continue going with this female trending. Go Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger. Kristen Anderson is back again at another World Finals. She didn't have a really good year this year. And Cynthia Gauthier got top 5 finish on her tour. Kristen Anderson got 3rd place on her tour, finishing behind Tristan England and Elvis Linez. Kristen has had a pretty decent season this year. Not as good as last year, but she still did really good for an incredibly stacked tour she had. She was competing up against, she competed up against Elvis Linez again. Then had some new challengers like Tristan England and David Olfert. And despite all these tough competitors, she still had a pretty good finish, finishing on the podium in 3rd. She did get lots of freestyle wins, and she's nailed some backflips. She even nailed one of her probably first container backflips in competition back in Tacoma. So, and we can't wait to see what Kristen can do out here. Kristen hasn't been known to do the best in stadium freestyles, especially when we watched her stadium freestyle runs in 2021 and in the World Finals last year. She hasn't done her best, but we hope she can come out here this year and have a better run in the stadium freestyle, and she can try to do better. She had an incredible save back in the All-Star Challenge of 2019, which was a similar track to this. So we cannot wait to see what Kristen can do this weekend. Next up, we've got Colt Stevens in Thunder Roars. Now, Colt Stevens came out this year. This is his first time driving full-time. It is his first full-time season since 2018, because he kind of was doing part-time in 2019, 2020, swapping with Heavy D and Brodozer. Then he came back to driving in 2022 for the first time since the pandemic. He would drive Max D in Melbourne, Sydney, Tampere, Finland, and Arnhem. And he would do pretty decent. Then he got the call to come back this season full-time to drive Thunder Wars. And he would have a pretty good season, including, 2 great freestyle runs in both Inglewood and winning in his hometown show of Houston, Texas in show 2. So, although in my opinion, I don't really think this spot is as deserved as some of the drivers we are missing out on. But it's still nice to see Colt Stevens to come out here and represent in the brand new Apex Predator at the World Finals. We cannot wait to see what he's going to do, as this will be his first World Finals since 2018, when he drove FS1 Cletus. Next up, we've got Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. And we are super duper happy Armando Castro is in the main field. After last year on a weekly update video, he was supposed to be in the main field, but that was just a mistake, and he was supposed to be for the skills challenge. So Armando got snubbed and robbed last year at the World Finals to making it in, and now this year is in his first time in the main field. We cannot wait to see how Armando will be doing in the main field out here at his first World Finals. I think he's going to do really good. Armando Castro, he's had some big stadium experiences before, such as he competed in In 2021, he competed in the October Tour of 2021, where he drove in Glendale, El Paso's shows 1 and 2, and he also drove in Arlington and Houston. And then in 2022, did have some stadium performances in some quarter 2 shows, such as in London, Melbourne, Sydney, Santo Domingo, and Arnhem. And he did really good last year in some of those second quarter stadiums. Like, he would nail backflips in London. I think he even won the freestyle competition in London, but I could be mistaken. He nailed a backflip there. He nailed some backflips in Arnhem in both shows, and he also nailed a backflip in Santo Domingo. He's done some pretty good stadium freestyles before, so hoping he can take that and those good freestyles that he had in the internet and some of the international events last year and correlate them this year at the World Finals to have a good performance. You can always see Armando will do out here in his first World Finals, which we are super happy he made it in. Next up, we've got Lindsey Reed and Scooby-Doo. Oh, also, Armando, Colt Stevens finished in around near the bottom of his tour, I believe in 9th or 10th. And then Armando Castro finished in 2nd on Arena Series East. And now we have Lindsey Reed and Scooby-Doo, who's made it into World Finals after she finished 4th on Arena Series East. And it's a really good spot for Lindsey Reed, as a lot of people were sleeping on her this season, and then we're saying that she wouldn't really deserve to make it into the World Finals this year. But I do think she did deserve it. She kind of got thrown under the shadow after she was really gonna compete in the 2022 Monster Jam season, driving Scooby-Doo on an arena tour, but unfortunately she was not able to because she left for maternity leave. She had to have a child and she couldn't drive during then. And then she returned last year to do some stadium events in October. She drove in Glendale, Arlington, Albuquerque, Houston, and Orlando. She did have a failed backflip attempt in Arlington, but she did do really good driving the Dalmatian in Orlando, as that's what she drove last October. She drove Monster Dalmatian, and she did really good in the Orlando show. She's having some good pacing and freestyle until she unfortunately got too close to the wall and was shut off, even though she probably should have continued going. And she was also bad fast in racing that night as well, as she would end up making it to the semifinals before she lost. She upsetted two big competitors, two really fast drivers in rounds 1 and round 2. She upsetted Ryan Anderson in round 1 and defeated John Gordon in Bad Company in round 2, but lost in the semis to Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid. And then she was really going to drive Dalmatian this season, but then she got switched over to drive Scooby-Doo and make her return to Scooby-Doo for the first time in nearly over 2 years. So we're super happy Lindsey Reed made it. She's had a pretty decent year this year. She's had some good freestyle runs, such as in Grand Rapids. So we can't always see what Lindsey Reed's going to do out here on the track. She's trying to defend her freestyle championship. She didn't get a chance to defend it last year. So I'm going to see if she can try to win another freestyle championship this year. I'm also really looking forward to seeing how Lindsey Reed will do in racing. She won the showdown in 2019, and she was going really fast on that track. And then she went to the racing competition and defeated John Zimmer and Dragon Ice in round 1. But then, unfortunately, due to mechanical issues, she could not come back. So I cannot wait to see how Lindsey Reed will do on this track. I've got some really high hopes here for Lindsey Reed. Next up, we've got Bari Musauer and Zombie, who finished in 3rd place on Stadium Series Blue. Bari Musauer, although he didn't have as good of a season this year as I think compared to last year, he didn't get as many freestyle wins as he did last year, but he still had a pretty good season this year, getting a really high finish in 3rd place. He even won racing in Anaheim Show 5 and also won the overall event championship there. But Zombie has had some pretty good runs and has had nailed some backflips during the season and has done pretty solid, such as he had a pretty solid freestyle in Seattle. and in Glendale. So we cannot wait to see what Bari is going to do at the World Finals. You know, the big thing we're definitely going to want to watch out for Bari here in this event is definitely in the racing. Because he made it to the final round in 2019, but unfortunately he apparently red lit, which allowed Jimmy Crean to get the win. So we're back on the elevated starting line. We cannot wait to see how Bari will do this. I'm thinking he's going to be really fast here. Although he hasn't driven on an elevated starting line in over 4 years, I think he's going to do really good in racing. And he's going to and I think he's going to make it a really long way. Bari didn't have the best of racing last year, although he did qualify in the top 8 and had gotten a bye into round 2. He would lose round 2 to Tristan England in Earthshaker. Next up, we've got Cody Saucier in Dragon. Now, Cody Saucier didn't have the best of seasons on Arena Series Central this year, as he would finish in 5th place. He had a pretty strong start to the season, but eventually he slowly started to fall down, and Brandon Vincent, Tony Oaks, John Zimmer Jr., and Zach Gardner would pass him, but he would get a chance to make it to the World Finals. Cody did have a really good freestyle in a stadium last year, and back in New Orleans, where he ended up winning that freestyle competition back in New Orleans in July. So he did do one stadium ever since the last World Finals, which was July 9th in New Orleans last year. So we cannot wait to see what Cody will do in World Finals this year. As, you know, he is really fast in racing, so somebody definitely to look after for in racing. I think he's going to probably pull down some really fast passes. I think he's going to have a pretty strong and solid performance in the racing competition this year. And last year, Cody Saucier also had probably one of the best kickoff runs to a World Finals. He probably had one of the best runs we've seen for a driver to go out first. It's almost as good as Cole Vennard and Gravedigger when he had that really good run to go out first back in 2016. So I cannot wait to see what Cody will be bringing out to the track for us here. Hoping to have a good freestyle like last year, and hopefully we can try to make it far in racing and try to win the racing competition. Next up, we've got Bryce Kenny in the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Now, Bryce will have a pretty good season this year, and being really close a few times to the top of the leaderboard. Bryce Kenny, I believe, would finish somewhere in the top 5 this season. I'm actually checking right now. Bryce would finish in this year in 4th place, which is really, really good. One of his highest finishings yet. So we cannot wait. Bryce King definitely had a better season this year compared to last year. He even got 2 overall event championships. Like he won an overall in Syracuse and an Atlanta show 1. Bryce has done really good this year. He's had better freestyles. Last year, he definitely struggled in freestyle, whether he struggled due to mechanical issues or mechanical issues to crashing early. This year, he's had lots of good freestyle runs. He's had good freestyle runs in shows like Oakland, Anaheim Show 1, Anaheim Show 2, St. Louis Show 2, Miami Show 2. Tampa Show 1 wasn't that bad. Tampa Show 2 was pretty good. Minneapolis 1 was incredible with his crazy save. He did pretty decent in Jacksonville. Had a pretty good run in Orlando. Did amazing in Detroit where he had that nice consecutive backflip. He had a good run in Syracuse. He also had a pretty good run in Atlanta Show 1, and he had a crazy save in Atlanta Show 2. So Bryce is definitely looking to have improve himself here, and have the best luck in freestyle. So he's hoping to try to do better this year, and have some better luck here at the World Finals this year in the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Next up, we got Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. Ryan Anderson got 2nd place on Stadium Tour Blue this year. Now, Ryan Anderson, although I don't think he had as good of a season as he did last year, he still did pretty good. He had some crazy freestyle runs, such as in San Diego Show 2, Houston Show 1, Anaheim Show 5, Anaheim Show 6. Seattle, Inglewood, Denver, Salt Lake City, but Seattle especially was where he definitely shined in freestyle. So hoping you have a run similar to like last year in Seattle, when we were at the World Finals. And Ryan Hay has also experienced more crashes in the skills lately this year and wasn't as fast in racing. So we hope Ryan Anderson can come out of World Finals and do really, really, really good and have a solid performance and go crazy and nuts for the fans. He's definitely going to split the truck in half, as Ryan doesn't have any shows currently scheduled after the World Finals, so he's definitely going to go big. Next up, after Ryan Anderson, we've got Kayla Blood in Soldier Fortune. Now, Kayla Blood, she got 5th place this year, I believe, on Stadium's Tour Red. She did really good. She was consistent. She even picked up freestyle wins in Philadelphia and in Anaheim Show 1. So we cannot wait to see what Kayla is going to bring out to the track here for us at World Finals. Last year, she had a really good World Finals appearance in freestyle, where she finished in the middle of the pack in 12th place with 2 backflips in her run. But she is looking for some redemption in the racing competition, as last year in racing, she ended up in qualifying. She'd end up on her first pass, just not doing good. She'd come up short on the over-under, having some damage to the back end of her truck. Then she went out a second time. I'm going to try to do a lap, but unfortunately her truck just had mechanical issues and just couldn't fire. And then she came out for a pass. At the very end, it would get a slowest pass in 24th place. And then she would be out. And then she would get out second in racing to Tristan England and Earthshaker in round 1. But she wants to have a better racing this year for sure, and she hopes to do amazing in freestyle. Next up, we've got Cole Vennard in the Black Pearl. Cole Vennard, he's had a pretty interesting season this year. I mean, his 2 seasons between this year and last year are pretty close in the sameness, but I do think they were pretty good. Cole has had some really good freestyle runs this year, such as in Oakland, Anaheim Show 1, Anaheim Show 2, St. Louis Show 2, Miami Show 1, Tampa Show 1, Tampa Show 2 where he had that crazy save, but he just couldn't keep going. Houston, Minneapolis shows 1 and show 2. He had a decent run in. He had a decent run in Jacksonville. He had a really good freestyle run in Orlando, where he had some very huge air. He had a pretty good freestyles in both Detroit shows. He did really solid in Philadelphia and in Syracuse. He did really good in Atlanta Show 2, and had a pretty decent freestyle run in Atlanta Show 1. But then, unfortunately, could not make it out to compete in the East Rutherford and Foxborough shows, as he blew a motor in East Rutherford in the semifinals of racing in East Rutherford and couldn't make it back to the finals. So, yeah, we hope Cole can. And then he blew a motor intros in East Rutherford and couldn't make it out for that show, which resulted in Cole finishing in 7th place on his tour. So we hope Cole can come out and have a better season and a good World Finals this year. He did really good last year. Cole Vennard is probably the best performing independent at the World Finals last year. He made it probably the farthest in racing almost out of any independent besides Corey Rummel, who got out just a few races after Cole. Cole would make it round 3 in racing last year, but lose to Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger. And then he would have a really high finish in freestyle, where he finished within the top 10, where he had 2 backflips and 1 epic save. We cannot wait to see what Cole can do out here. We cannot wait to see Cole Vennard compete in the elevated starting lines for the first time. Something I also did forget to mention on with Kayla Blood is Kayla Blood is really going for a racing win this year. Kayla Blood has come close to winning racing quite a couple times this year. Kayla came close to winning racing in both Foxborough and Orlando. She had a crazy crash in Orlando, but unfortunately she just could not come back. She would have a crazy crash in the semifinals. She got the truck back out for the final round, but lost to Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid, and then she just could not quite win it in Foxborough. And Kayla Blood's also going to try to throw down a good freestyle one one that is similar and good, as good as or better than the show that she had in Atlanta Show 2. Alright, next up we've got John Gordon in Bad Company. John Gordon has had a pretty good season this year. I don't know if it was as good as last year, but he still had a pretty good season. He won 3 racing competitions, which were in San Diego Show 1, the first show of the season. He won back-to-back racing competitions in Seattle and Glendale. But John Gordon definitely has a lot of horsepower on this truck. John Gordon kind of got robbed in racing last year. He would end up going out first round and beat Corey Rummel in the race, but then they decided to rerun it, which Corey Rummel would win. Says very unfortunate for John Gordon. So we hope John Gordon can come out here and have some redemption in racing this year compared to last year. We can't wait to see. Can't wait to see what he can do. And then last year in freestyle, he got 4th place, barely missing out on being in the top 3. We had a crazy run with 2 backflips, good momentum, nice air, and even a backflip off the cars, which you'd walk out into a slap wheelie really crazily. So if John Gordon can have another good Wolf Files appearance here this year and throw down some amazing runs and try to get the win. Next up, we've got Corey Rummel in Megalodon. Now, Corey, I also do think he didn't have as good of a season as he did last year. He didn't make it to the final round, though, in Arlington. So he's hoping to try to do and have a good run at the Wolf Finals here this year. Corey was one of the best independents. He was the best performing independent in racing, where he'd end up making it to round 3 before losing to Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger. Corey also had a really good upset in round 2, where he upsetted Cody Saucier in Dragon, who was the 2nd fastest qualifier. Corey is hoping to do really good here at the Wolf Finals and also have some redemption in freestyle. Corey did not have the best of freestyles last year, as he ended up breaking a spindle early and would not fill 30 seconds. So he really wants to have a good freestyle. Corey Rummel, though, has had a pretty good season in freestyle. He kind of picked up and started doing better in the season, more towards the back half of the season. Like, he did pretty good and had some pretty good freestyles in Anaheim Show 5 and in El Paso Show 2. But he really started picking up. Like, he got good freestyle runs in Seattle, Glendale. He did pretty good in Inglewood. And then he did really good in Salt Lake City. And he also had a pretty high freestyle finish in Kansas City. And even won the overall event championship there. So we can't wait and hope Corey Rummel can come out and do good out here this year at the World Finals. And we also really want to see him to win racing, as Corey Rummel has not gotten a racing win in his entire time of driving Megalodon. He did get some racing wins in Rage back in 2021, but he hasn't won any in Megalodon. So he really wants a racing win in Megalodon. So we hope he can try to do that here this year. He's come close so many times, made the final round so many times, but just come up just so short. So I hope Corey can get a good, solid performance in racing and can do really good in freestyle. Next up, we've got Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid. Camden Murphy had a really good start to the season, having the points lead all the way up until Minneapolis, where Adam Anderson would steal it from him. And Camden just had a struggle end of the season. In the back half of the season, he just kind of struggled and just couldn't quite pull it off to try to win the tour. He did get 2nd place, though, which is still really good against all those good group of competitors. Camden's had some good freestyle runs this season, such as in Oakland, Anaheim Show 2, St. Louis shows 1 and 2, Miami Show 2, did pretty good in Tampa. And pretty decent freestyle runs in both Houston and Minneapolis. He had a really good freestyle run in Syracuse. So Camden's something to do really good. But Camden had a really dominant season last year in the 2nd quarter. In the 2nd quarter last year, Camden did so dominant, and he ended up winning overalls at both Nashville and in Nashville and Cleveland, and then would finish and have a really good performance in New Orleans. Then in October, he would do really good in the Melbourne and Sydney shows, and would end up coming out and being consistent in Orlando to get the overall event championship in the October Orlando show of that year. So we cannot wait to see what Camden can do. Camden did good in Nashville. Kind of like Cole Vennard. Cole Vennard did really good in Nashville last year, where Cole actually ended up winning freestyle last year in Nashville. Camden actually won both racing and skills last year. So let's see if Camden can try to win racing or freestyle here this year at the World Finals. Next up, we've got Todd LeDuc in Megalodon. Todd LeDuc has had a struggle of a season this year here in Megalodon. Ever since he's changed out Blue Thunder this year in Megalodon, it's just not been too good for Todd. But he luckily did finish in 6th place on the season. And you would even pick him in overall wins in both Miami Show 2 and in Detroit Show 1, where he'd actually clean sweep the Detroit Show 1 event, which was his best performance of the year. And he also did win a freestyle win in Jacksonville. He even had some crazy skills moves in both Miami Show 1 and in Jacksonville. And he's had some crazy skill moves, as well as in Detroit. He also had a Detroit Show 1. So we can't wait to see what Todd LeDuc can do. And we hope Todd LeDuc can just do better. He did also win racing in Miami Show 2. So we hope Todd can come out here and just do really good in the World Finals and turn it up and get some redemption after all the hard luck he has had in Megalodon. We hope he can try to come out here and win. And get a win. Next up, we've got Tom Meents and Max D. Now, Tom Meents, he didn't have as good of a season as he did last year, but he still did have a pretty solid performance, finishing in 3rd place on Stadium Series Red. Tom Meents is hoping to try and defend his freestyle title, as that is what he won last year, so he's hoping to try and defend that. Tom Meents, he didn't really have that much seat time in quarter 2 of last year, because he only drove in one show, which was London. And he came out this year, and he had really tough luck in the beginning, where he ended up blowing a motor in Oakland, and then he'd come out in both in Anaheim shows 1 and 2 and in St. Louis, and he would do amazing and catch himself up in the season, start jumping up in the leaderboard to get up higher. Although Tom Meents, he has missed quite a few freestyle competitions this season, like he's missed freestyle competitions in Oakland, Miami Show 2, and he also missed freestyle in Foxborough. So Meents is hoping to have a better run here. And also Meents has also been shut off a lot this season and for unnecessary reasons, such as in Detroit Show 2, Tampa Show 1, and in Syracuse, where he almost had some pretty epic saves, but unfortunately just couldn't nail him off because he got shut off. But Thomas still had a lot of good freestyle runs this season, such as from Anaheim Show 1, Anaheim Show 2, St. Louis Show 1, St. Louis Show 2. He had really tough luck in Tampa, but he would end up getting some good freestyles in both of the Minneapolis shows. Minneapolis shows 1 and 2. Houston, a stellar freestyle in Jacksonville. And he also did really good in Atlanta Show 2. And he also had a really good performance in East Rutherford. And he also did really good in Cleveland. So we hope Tom Meents can pick things up here this season and try to have a good performance here at the World Finals this year, like what he did last year. As Tom Meents was one of the best performing drivers at World Finals, he was really consistent throughout every competition. And Tom Meents, racing was a bit of a struggle last year. He got the fastest qualifying pass last year, but unfortunately when it came time to racing, he almost lost in round 1, but luckily Weston Anderson would crash, so he'd end up winning. And then he almost lost in then he would lose in the semifinals after making a mistake of knocking all 4 tires across the race lane. So the mud definitely affected Meents in last year's World Finals, so we hope Meents can come out here this year and have a really good World Finals appearance. Next up, we've got Jim Kohler and Avenger. Jim Kohler's had a much better season this year than last year, where he'd be nailing more backflips. Now, as of recently since Denver, Jim Kohler's been trying to do backflips off the containers instead of off the 8-packs, which Jim Kohler's been known to be doing the backflips off the 8-packs ever since 2021. But he's been trying these container backflips. So we cannot wait to see what Jim Kohler will do. We cannot wait to see what new scheme will bring out. It's still happy to see Jim Kohler in here because you just can't have a World Finals without Jim Kohler. Jim Kohler did have a tough season this year, finishing in 10th place. although he did have a better season than last year, but he still luckily did make it into the World Finals. So we can hope he can do good out here this year at this year's World Finals and have a better performance. As these past 3 World Finals 19 crashed on the first hit, had mechanical issues in World Finals 20, and then he broke early by breaking a wheel off in last year's World Finals. So we hope Avenger and Jim Kohler can have a really good World Finals appearance this year. We hope they can win racing because Jim Kohler has been to every World Finals but has still not won the racing championship. So we really want Jim Kohler to win racing badly this year in the racing. And we also really want him to just throw down and have a better freestyle performance than what he's had in years past. Next up, we've got Chris Kohler in Monster Mud. Although I don't really think this spot is deserved, I still think this is a really good pick. I'm still really happy Chris Kohler made it into the World Finals. Chris Kohler has done insane this year in Monster Mud. May have had a slower start to the season, but he started doing really good as he got some good freestyles in San Antonio Show 1, Houston Show 2, Indianapolis Show 1, Indianapolis Show 2, Anaheim Show 5, Anaheim Show 6, Arlington, Glendale, Inglewood, Denver, and in Kansas City. Chris Kohler would just have really good freestyle runs. And Chris Kohler's also had some insane saves this year. Chris Kohler's had some crazy saves off of bicycles, such as in Anaheim Shows 5, 6, and Anaheim Show 3, as well as in Denver. So Chris has been known to getting some nice and cool saves off bicycles. He also did some cool saves off bicycles back in the October Arlington show of last year and the October Houston show of last year. And Chris Kohler's just has gone crazy in freestyles. He's had some crazy saves in freestyles, such as his consecutive backflip in Denver, and his crazy saves he's had in Anaheim Show 5 and in Inglewood. So, and he also had a really nice, almost like walk the plank backflip in Indianapolis Show 2. So we cannot wait to see what Chris Kohler can do. He's definitely high contention for freestyle this year. He even did get a racing win, so he's won one of each competitions so far this year. He won racing back in Arlington, so nice job here for Chris Kohler. We cannot wait to see what he's going to do. I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in freestyle. I think he's going to have a really good freestyle here this year. Maybe we can try to get a win. And lastly, we have Ryan Disharoon and Shaker. And I'm sorry, Ryan Disharoon, Ryan Disharoon is probably in the top 5 of probably one of the best drivers to never have made it into a World Finals, besides probably Matt Pagliarulo and Chuck Warner. I don't really think this spot is deserved here from Ryan Disharoon. I mean, Ryan Disharoon, he's done good before. He's been really fast in racing. And he's also had some good freestyles, such as in El Paso, where he ended up getting his first stadium overall. I'm happy Ryan Disharoon didn't make it in, because it's been a long time coming. I think he probably should have made it in last year, but he got robbed out of a spot. So it's nice that he made it in this year. But I don't know if this is the best of spots comparing to some of the drivers we're about to mention. And so, I don't really think, this truck, he's had a lot of mechanical issues this year on his truck. So I just really don't know why he kind of made it into the World Finals this year. But still, I'm still really happy for Ryan Disharoon that he made it into the World Finals. Now here are our missing out drivers here. We have, first off, Mike Christensen in Vendetta. Mike was having a really good season this year, but sadly he's going to have to miss out on World Finals. Mike Christensen did really good. He did really good in this year. He did have a slow start throughout Anaheim and Oakland. He did have a nice backflip in St. Louis Show 1. And then he struggled through Miami. He started to pick things back, pick the pace up through Tampa. Won freestyle in Houston. Won skills and overall in Minneapolis. Did really good throughout Jacksonville, Orlando, Detroit, Syracuse, and then he had a really good run in Foxborough. So No, it's just unfortunate Mike Christian missed out. A lot of people were saying Mike was going to make it this year. Unfortunately, he didn't. Charlie Pauken and in Monster Mutt. I do feel bad Charlie Pauken's having to miss out on the World Finals this year because he didn't get a chance to compete in the U.S. He had to compete in an international tour this year. And it's kind of feel bad because Charlie's done amazing on the international tour. He won freestyle in Stockholm and in Durban. And then Charlie had a really good freestyle run in Johannesburg. He almost had probably one of the most cleanest consecutive backflips of all time. I don't think it's more cleaner or better than George Bellhand's back at World Finals 13. But it's still really good. And he almost had like a backflip save off the step-up ramp in Johannesburg. So it's just really unfortunate Charlie Pauken will have to miss out this year on the World Finals, especially because he's going to be in Germany on the same day as the event on July 1st. It's really unfortunate that Charlie Pauken's have to miss out. And he won't even be there at the World Finals, just to be there as a driver. He just come up and me as a kind of like a display driver, kind of like in like how he was in 2019 where he didn't compete. He was just out there with Gravedigger Fire. Yeah, unfortunately, won't be that. So this will probably be the first. This will be the first World Finals in a long time where Charlie Pauken won't be there present as either a competitor or just a driver you can go meet at the pit party. Then we have Jamie Garner and Overboard. I do think Jamie does deserve a World Finals spot this year. I mean, Jamie Garner's been fast in racing, almost won the overall in Cleveland, and he's just had a really good season this year, better than last year. Unfortunately, he's just going to miss out on the World Finals yet again this year. Hopefully, Jamie Garner can make it back to the World Finals next year. We have David Olfer and Velociraptor. I mean, we really want to see somebody from Team Throttle Monster making it to the World Finals, but unfortunately, it's just not going to happen this year. I mean, David Olfer, he's had a good season. He finished 4th place on Arena Series West. He did a really good job this season, so it's just really sad to see him miss out. In my opinion, Olfer and Garner definitely do deserve it over Colt Stevens and Ryan Disharoon. So, yeah, it's just really sad that they're missing out. Next up, we've got Jamie Sullivan and Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Jamie Sullivan, she had an okay rookie season, but unfortunately, she just won't be able to be there. And unfortunately, there will be no Monster Mutt Dalmatian at the World Finals this year. And then we have Peter Nyman and Earthshaker. Peter Nyman, he's been driving internationally. I mean, they did say originally for World Finals 21, they're going to have an international driver come and drive at the World Finals, but unfortunately that never happened because of the pandemic. So, that spot would have probably been Peter Nyman in the Earthshaker, but unfortunately he just could not make it out. So unfortunate break for Peter Nyman. Hopefully they can bring back that international tour driver to get to compete on at a World Finals. Hopefully they do that maybe for next year. Hopefully they can do that so Peter Nyman can try to make it in. Next we got Matt Pagliarulo and Jester. Matt has had a way better season this year than what he has had last year. I mean, it seems like he's starting to break away from the mechanical issues. He's had many good freestyle runs this year. So, unfortunately, Matt will not make it in. Matt Pagliarulo and Jester is probably the greatest driver besides Chuck Warner to have not made it into a World Finals. Next up, we got Zach Garner in Wildside. It's really unfortunate Zach Garner could not make it in. I feel like if there was a 28 truck field, he probably would have made it in, along with some of the other drivers here on this page, like David Olfert. So, I kind of do feel bad that Zach Garner just could not make it in this year. I thought he was going to get it last year, but unfortunately, he just could not pull it out on Arena Series Central. And he could not do it this year, so one unfortunate break for Zach Garner and Wildside. I hope we get to see Zach Garner at the World Finals next year. Since Zach can do really good in stadiums, like if you've seen some of the stadium freestyle runs they did in 2021 and in 2022. Next up, we've got John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. John Zimmer Jr., this is probably the biggest letdown. John Zimmer Jr. should have been in the World Finals this year, without a doubt. He had a really good season, like his freestyle run from Louisville Show 2, who was off the charts, and he did not make it in. John Zimmer Jr. deserves the World Finals over so many drivers in this field. He deserves it over Lindsey Reed, Kristen Anderson, Colt Stevens, Chris Kohler, Ryan Disharoon. He deserves it over so many drivers. Unfortunately, he just could not make it in. I mean, I've never seen an arena, an independent who's competed in the arenas come compete at the World Finals. I've never seen that before. It's never happened. We've never had an independent who's competed on an arena tour qualify for a World Finals. So, it's unfortunate. And we really wanted John Zimmer Jr. at the World Finals this year. He had such an amazing season. He got second place, considering Cody got 5th place and still made it in World Finals. John Zimmer Jr. should have been in there. So it's really very unfortunate that he's not going to be in there. Travis Mowry of Velociraptor is also missing out. I mean, he did have to retire, unfortunately, to go and focus on becoming a dad. So, fortunately, he won't be there. Jimmy Creed and Bounty Hunter. Jimmy Creed may appear at every World Finals from 2002 through 2019. So we wish he was at the World Finals this year, but unfortunately he won't be. This is a really big miss out for Jimmy Creed that he won't be at the World Finals this year. So we hope maybe at some point he can come back to the World Finals at some point. Maybe he can come back to Moshpit, but I don't think that'll ever happen. Next up, we got Bernard Light and Megalodon. Unfortunately, Bernard Light will not be at the World Finals this year because he'll be in Dresden, Germany to drive Blue Thunder. It's really unfortunate he won't be at the World Finals this year and drive Megalodon. Next up, we've got Dalton Wildner and Jurassic Attack. Dalton Wildner had a really good season on Arena Series East this year. He finished 3rd place on the tour. It is really unfortunate that he just could not make it into the World Finals. Now, Tony Oaks and Thunder Roars. Tony Oaks got robbed last year, and this year, although he didn't have good of a season, we just wish he could have made it out to the World Finals. But unfortunately, he won't be able to. Only someday Tony Oaks can make it out to a World Finals. He's also probably one of the top 5 best drivers who have never made it into a World Finals. He unfortunately wouldn't be able to anyway because we'll be driving Earthshaker in Dresden, Germany this weekend. So that is unfortunate. Then we have Elvis Lainez in El Toro Loco. Elvis had a really good season this year, finishing in 2nd place on Arena Series West. So we really hope one day Elvis can come out to a World Finals. He had a really good season this year. And we just really hope Elvis can compete in a stadium in general. I mean, Elvis has competed on some bigger tracks before, such as in Salinas, Tacoma, and Fargo. We haven't seen him actually drive in a stadium yet. So maybe during the October shows, we can maybe see him come out and do a stadium. Hopefully we can see him do a stadium show sometime in the future. Next up, we've got Joe Foley and Axe. Unfortunately, Joe Foley just didn't. He's a rookie. It's his 1st year of driving. Unfortunately, just couldn't quite make it. Hopefully, sometime in the future, Joe Foley can make it to the World Finals in Axe. We've got Mark List in El Toro Loco. Unfortunately, Mark List, he had family issues he had to go take care of. So he unfortunately just could not make it out to the World Finals this year, which was such a shame. And lastly, we have Nick Pagliarulo in Kraken. Now, Nick, I think he should have been in the World Finals this year. Nick has had a really, really awesome season this year. He knows how to fly this squid across this track. He's had such big air this season. He's had so many good freestyle runs, such as in St. Louis Show 2, Miami Show 1, Miami Show 2, Tampa Show 1, Minneapolis Show 1, Jacksonville, Syracuse, Atlanta Show 2, East Rutherford, and Cleveland. He's done amazing. And he even had some good freestyles at some independent shows, like in Nieces and in the Monsters of Metal show the Monsters of Metal show. So it's really unfortunate. We really want to see Nick at the World Finals. Nick was probably last year. Nick was probably one of the worst performing drivers at the World Finals. He's been losing round 1 in racing to Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. Then he would have motor issues, which plagued him from finishing the first 30 seconds of his freestyle run. We really wanted to see him get some redemption at the World Finals this year, but unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. We really wish Nick would be at the World Finals this year, but unfortunately, he just will not be able to make it. Probably one of the biggest disappointments besides John Zimmer Jr. to not be in the World Finals. mean, Nick deserves it over many drivers like Cody. He deserves it over Kristen Anderson, Lindsey Reed, Cody Saucier, Ryan Disharoon, Colt Stevens. So it's just really unfortunate we will not be able to see Nick Pagliarulo at the World Finals this year. Next up, we've got the high jump competition. The high jump competition is going to feature Cynthia Gauthier and Lucas Stabilizer, the 2019 high jump champion. Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, the defending high jump champion from last year. Colt Stevens and Thunder Roars. Now, this is pretty interesting. I mean, Colt has had some big air moments this year, such as in Indianapolis 2, Houston 2, and in Inglewood. So this is an interesting spot, as well as in Kansas City. Also got big air there, so that's an interesting spot. Kayla Blood and Soldier of Fortune. Very interesting. Can't wait to see how she's going to do in Fly Soldier of Fortune. Bryce Kenny and the Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior. Also a very interesting spot. Nick Pagliarulo and Kraken. This is very nice. Really happy he made it after all the big air he's gotten throughout the season. Camden Murphy and the Bakugan Dragonoid. He's also had some pretty big air moments as well. And Jim Kohler and Avenger. Also somebody definitely deserves this because, you know, it's Jim Kohler. You can't really have a high jump competition without Jim Kohler. Now here are the missing out drivers. We have Bari Musauer and Zombie. Now Bari Musauer, he's had some pretty big, you know, he hasn't had as many bigger moments this year, but last year he did really good in the high jump competition, and I think he should have made it this year because of how well he did last year. Some people say that he was robbed of the high jump championship last year. So, no, it's really unfortunate. Bari did not get a chance to come out to this high jump competition. We've got Adam Anderson and Gravedigger. Adam should have been out there as well. Adam has been soaring Gravedigger through the air this season. He's had so many big air moments, especially some of the biggest air of the years in Atlanta Show 2. So, I do not know why Adam Anderson is not in this high jump competition, and so he should have definitely been in there. Corey Rummel and Megalodon. He hasn't had as many big air moments this year, but he also had an amazing high jump performance at last year's World Finals. We have Todd LeDuc and Megalodon, which is very unfortunate. Probably one of the biggest missing outs because, you know, it's a high jump competition. You gotta have Todd LeDuc for a high jump. Todd LeDuc's been known for big air, especially at World Finals, like in World Finals 20 and World Finals 15 and in World Finals 16. He had some of the biggest air out there. So he's been known for big air, so it's just unfortunate that he misses out. And of course, also Tom Meents is also a big disappointer because Tom Meents is he's just done really good in high jump before. He did really good last year, finishing second place. Hey, so I don't know why they didn't put him in there. Because, you know, Tom Meents is known for big air. Like, that's kind of weird to have a high jump competition, but to not feature Tom Meents, which is kind of weird. Next up, we've got the skills competition. We've got John Zimmer Jr. and Terminal Velocity. We're super happy he made it in because John Zimmer Jr. is just an ex-competitor. We want him to be in the World Final in some shape or form. He's had some good skills runs this year, especially since Columbia, where he's been doing that butt kicker. So, nice job there for John Zimmer Jr. We got Tristan England in Earthshaker. Really nice to see him do that. He's also had some great skills moves this year. Weston Anderson, Gravedigger. This dude's just gone crazy in skills this year. I'm going to be surprised if he pulled out something that's completely brand new and crazy at the World Finals and won it. A nice job there for Weston. Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. Nice to see him make a return. Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. You know, Ryan was one of the biggest innovators of the two wheels, so you can't really have a skills competition without Ryan Anderson. So nice he made it in. We have Tyler Meninga in Gravedigger. You know, Tyler's also done some crazy two-wheel skills stuff over the years, so nice to see him on here. Camden Murphy in the Bakugan Dragonoid, looking to come out here and make a redemption after last year, after I had some fails in last year's competition. I'm going to come out here and have some redemption in the skills this year. Tom Meents and Max D. You know, Tom Meents, he's won the skills challenge back-to-back years in a row. So we hope Tom Meents can win out here and see if he can get 3 in a row, which would be pretty amazing. The missing out drivers, we have Brandon Vincent and Elvis Linez. Looking at statistics, all the drivers who were in this skills lineup are in the top 10 with the highest average skills runs throughout the season, except for Brandon and Elvis. we really want to see Brandon Vincent in there because Brandon Vincent, he had the tombstone that he's been doing a lot lately in the season, and well, in some of the stadium events last year. Like he did it in Melbourne in the mud, in the rain, which was crazy. He also attempted it in the October Orlando show, but unfortunately crashed. And he also had a really nice tombstone in Santo Domingo, in the Dominican Republic last year. Then we have Elvis Lainez and El Toro Loco. Oh, Elvis has had some really good skills runs. We really wish Elvis was a part of the World Finals in some way, shape, or form. But unfortunately, he will not be. So, yeah. That is it from all the competitions. Now I move on to some of the other stuff. First of all, for the first time since 2016, this is really exciting. All the Gravediggers will get different paint schemes. Weston will be rocking the orange, which is kind of a reference to Bog Hog, which I really like. Kristen Anderson will be running the pink. I mean, I kind of wish Kristen ran more of a purple or the blonde to the bone scheme, but still nice. The pink will fit her. Brandon Vincent will be in the red. Red Knight is awesome. And then Tyler Menningen in the purple, kind of like in Cole Vennard's Gravedigger. So, nice job here for Phil to bring these diggers back. We've been asking this for years, and it's finally happening. So, we cannot wait to see these colored digger schemes at the World Finals, as it is going to be amazing. Next up, we have the 9-truck stunt, the 9-truck jump. I mean, this is going to be really interesting to see another stunt. I mean, we have seen truck jumps at the past couple of World Finals. Like, we've seen them at World Finals 20, World Finals 21, and now this year. But this one will be the one to open up the show. So, basically, how Saturday will work is the pit part will be from 11 a.m. to... God bless me. So, the pit part will be from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then, the skills and high jump competitions will take place from 1 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. And then we'll have before the racing competition, we'll have the encore stunt, which will be which will happen. Then we'll have racing freestyle competitions in the halftime show by Low Cash, in between racing and freestyle. So it's really nice to see this here to see another 9-truck jump. We cannot wait to see Colton Eichelberger back behind the wheel of a truck again for the first time since 2021. It's nice to see Colton Eichelberger back, him do this stunt of 9-truck jumps. He did a 7-truck jump back at World Finals in Orlando, so we can see if he can do it for the first time, him being behind the wheel in quite a while. So we cannot wait to see what's going to happen and what's going to be pulled off here for this stunt at this World Finals. We cannot wait to see if Colt Stevens will nail this 9-truck jump. Next up, there is a possibility of a 20th anniversary Max D encore. So if we looked at the pit party map, you can see there's lots of Max Ds out there. So maybe we can see a 20th anniversary Max D encore after the racing competition. I hope we do, because we would just really love to see a Max D 20th anniversary encore. It's 20 years of Max D, so you gotta have an encore for that. Next up, we have the pit party and some of the display trucks that will be there. We've got Airmail, which debuted at the Del Mar show and the Delaware International Speedway show just a couple weeks ago for the Monsters of Metal. Super happy to be seeing that there, as that is going to be crazy. We have Animal House with Faith Freed. She's only 14, so that's going to be interesting to see that truck there. Another independent truck that has never competed Monster Jam before, so that'll be interesting to see that there. We have Axe there with Joe Foley. We have Big Kahuna, the biggest surprise of them all. Big Kahuna, he was supposed to debut at many shows. It was like the Miami, Oklahoma show. He was supposed to debut at many independent shows, but unfortunately just hasn't. So, yeah, part of me is excited to see another delay of the Big Kahuna. We have Dysfunctional, which is kind of like a truck that kind of supports like people with like disabilities like autism. So that's nice to see that there with Shane Freed. We also have Gravedigger, the ride truck Gravedigger, Jester, which we have heard may run a new color scheme, but I did see posted either Nick or Michael Peglier's Instagram story of Jester with a fresh new red body on it. So who knows? Maybe they're not debuting a new paint scheme. So yeah, but we have had rumors because Matt did say on the live track side in East Rutherford, heard that they will be having a new Jester scheme at World Finals, but that is currently unknown. We have Jurassic Attack. I really hope Jurassic Attack gets a new scheme this year. I also do hope they kind of like paint the horns like what they have on Devin Winfield's Jurassic Attack, so I hope they do that. It's nice to see that there. We have Just Get Her Done, second generation. That is nice to see that there. And that is really nice to see Brandon Tolochka there. We really do hope Brandon Tolochka will unveil a new paint scheme for Just Get Her Done at the World Finals, since the old body that he used this year kind of got destroyed and was just falling apart and just having to be taped back together, and the tailgate was completely missing. So I really hope we get a new paint scheme for that. We have King Sling, which is unknown if it'll run as a mud truck or the actual truck. So it'll be nice to see King Sling there. We've got the Megalodon ride truck, which is really cool. Let me go ride around that. We have Michigan Ice Monster, which will be there. With Mike, that got unveiled a few weeks ago. We have Monster Mutt Dalmatian with Bailey Shea, Monster Mutt Dalmatian with Jamie Sullivan, Raminator and Ramunition. It's nice to see them be there as a display truck. We have Stone Crusher. We haven't seen Stone Crusher at the World Finals, whether it be for a display truck or competing since 2015. So it's nice to see Stone Crusher there. We have both the blue and orange Velociraptor, Vendetta, which I also hope gets a new paint scheme. And I kind of do also hope for a new Velociraptor paint scheme, but I don't think we're going to get that. Then we also have Wild Side. Nice to see that there again. And a TBA Tomfoolery truck. Now, it does say on the Pit Party map that there is a TBA Tomfoolery truck, but it doesn't say it's Michigan Ice Monster or not, so you really don't know what it's going to be. It could be Michigan Ice Monster. It could be Excalibur. It could be Mr. Beast. So we don't know. It could be anything. And we hope, I don't know. I hope it's something new. Oh, maybe it's Recreation, but I really hope it's Recreation. And I do hope it's actually something new. I hope it's not just Michigan Ice Monster, something we've already seen. I hope it is something new like Excalibur or Mr. Beast. Also, there's some stuff right here that is also missing, which is the, Michaela Tolochka's Megalodon will be there as a display truck as well. Because if you look by the watery section on the Pit Party map, you can see in the water section there's 4 Megalodons, Black Pearl and Big Kahuna. And so my theory with the 4 Megalodons that are there is one of them is Todd LeDuc's Megalodon, one of them is Corey Rummel's, we also have Ashley Sanford's Megalodon, and then Michaela Tolochka's Megalodon. The only Megalodon that won't be there is Bernard Light, since Bernard Light obviously won't be at the World Finals due to him being in Dresden. There's also going to be 2 El Toro Locos as display trucks, which are in here, the Pit Party. I'm assuming one of them is Elvis Atlantis' El Toro Loco. I'm assuming the other one will be Jamie Garner's El Toro Loco. I mean, so that's gonna be interesting to see. I hope we do see that El Toro. We do see Jamie Garner there, since it does say the entirety of Overboard Motorsports will be there, besides almost Overboard with Jamie Garner. So I'm assuming that may be his, or else this is gonna be a different El Toro Loco display truck that was the one Mark List kind of ran throughout the season, and all the other drivers who drove it. There's also there an Earthshaker on the map that is not just in England, which is going to be Hunter Souza's. So you can always see what Hunter Souza is going to bring out at the World Finals. We also have a big Max D display with a bunch of Max D's going to be there. Like there's going to be the regular paint scheme, the red, the blackout. I even saw a split paint job of the Maximum Destruction of the old Maximum Destruction body and the 20th anniversary. So that's interesting. There's a bunch of Max D's. The blackout one is there, so there's a lot of Max D's out there. I think the gold one may also be out there. I'm not sure, but there's going to be a lot of Max D's out there. There's also a TBA truck to be listed at the UNOH and BKT zones. I don't know what those are. Maybe they're new trucks. Who knows? New Feld trucks. We don't know. And I think that's all about it here. Also, for World Finals paint schemes, it is confirmed the Avenger and Bad Company will get new paint schemes as well as Jester. So we cannot wait to see what they're going to run out there as well. Next up, we also have the Target halftime show with Low Cash. Takes place after the racing competition. We can always see Low Cash performance. It will be Low Cash and Sydney Mack performing 3 favorite colors. I mean, we've heard 3 favorite colors already, like before the National Anthem and after the National Anthem and Moshing so much. I kind of wish they were performing a different song. But, I mean, that's okay. 3 favorite colors is kind of fire. Despite what your opinion of it is, I think it's pretty fire. And that's going to be it. And lastly, I'm going to do my predictions for World Finals. My prediction for the skills is going to be John Zimmer Jr. in terminal velocity. I know a lot of people are going to probably go Weston or Tyler or Tom. I'm going John Zimmer Jr. because John Zimmer Jr., I really want to see him win. He can do some incredible stuff like butt kickers, and maybe he'll pull off something cool and crazy because now he's competing in a big stadium floor, something you haven't seen John Zimmer Jr. do yet in Monster Jam. So it's going to be exciting to see him do some skills. I think he's going to pull out the win there. In high jump, I'm going Nick Pagliarulo and Kraken. Because, Nick is the only truck in the high jump competition that doesn't have to compete in the main field. Which will give him an advantage here. So he can just go all out, destroy his truck, and not have to worry about it. And just not have to worry about it. Not worry about it because they don't have a show. They don't have to compete in the main field and fix it back up. So I'm going Nick for a high jump. Nick's gotten big air a lot of times this year. So I'm going Nick for high jump. Racing, I'm going Jim Kohler and the Avenger. Picking a lot of wild cards out here and a lot of independents. I really want to see Jim Kohler win racing. He's competed at all the World Finals. And so if he's competed at all the World Finals, he should have a racing win. He needs to go and join Tom Meents, Ryan Anderson, Adam Anderson, Todd LeDuc, Medusa. He needs to go join Jimmy Creighton. He needs to go join all those drivers that have both a racing and a freestyle title. Never freestyle, I'm going Todd LeDuc and Megalodon. Todd has come close 3 World Finals in a row. From his flat spin at World Finals 19 to his huge air at World Finals 20 to his crazy ragged edge run in World Finals 21. I think Todd LeDuc is going to win freestyle. It's about time. I cannot wait to see LeDuc just leap it across Nissan Stadium. So, yeah, I'm going Todd for the freestyle win. And that is about it. There's also going to be a parade on Broadway as well, which is also going to be really cool. Well, unfortunately, I cannot be able to see it because, I just won't be able to. So yeah, that's going to be about it. I cannot wait to go to the World Finals this weekend. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I cannot wait to be there. It's going to be an awesome weekend this weekend for World Finals. And let me know what your thoughts in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on all the stuff we've covered today? Do you agree with my predictions or do you disagree? Let's talk in the comments down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can be notified for more Monster Jam World Finals 22 content comes out soon. Alright, bye-bye, everybody. Have a God-blessed day. Peace out. Have a great day.